Pleased now to be joined by Marcos Buchecha Almeida, one of the greatest Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artists of all time, ready to make your MMA debut this weekend at One Revolution against Anderson Silva. Wow, it's finally here. We've been waiting a little while for this debut to happen. How has it been for you? 3 fights fell out in the last year or two. You've had a bit of a roller coaster, but you're here now. And how pleased are you that it is finally here?
Hello, guys. First of all, yeah, like you said, it's been like a roller coaster, but it is what it is, right? No complaints. Just have to accept the situation and finally here. Let's do it.
You were matched up with some pretty interesting opponents before, people like Rug and Kang, who's actually going to be fighting for the title. Now you've got a kickboxer in Anderson Silva.
Who is fighting for the title?
Kang, your former opponent. It looks like he will be fighting for the title next.
Oh, the Korean.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. That's awesome. Yeah, so they gave me a lot of tough fights, but it is what it is, right? So it's gonna be an interesting matchup, him and Arjan, and another heavyweight bout that's gonna be interesting to watch. The one between the one that's gonna happen in the same card that I'm fighting. Forgot the name.
Amir Ali Akbari.
Yeah. I don't know how to aim against the Russian guy. What's his name?
Anatoly.
Yes. So
Anatoly Malakin.
Yeah. So their foreign names are hard for me to say, so I always forget. But that's gonna be a good matchup too. Potentially, who's gonna fight for the belt after who win between Arjan and Young, right? So it's gonna be interesting to watch.
Do you think the fact that one wanted you to fight people like Rug against Kang, these are, they wanted to give you something tough from the outset. Does that show you that you're somebody that they look at as a future champion?
I don't know, man. I'm just employee, and I'm gonna do my job. They send me the name, and I accept. I don't complain. I know they're not gonna give like easy fights for me. So all opponents are really tough. I expect that when I signed. I knew it would be something like that, but it is what it is. I'm training. I'm ready to go, and I don't choose opponents. But I think it's gonna be good, right? Because if they give me such tough opponents, because they have like good faith in me. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done that, right? So let's look there for the good side, as the good side.
Anderson Silva is a kickboxer, really, in his style. So how do you feel about that? It's a classic grappler versus striker. Do you like the fact that you're facing a kickboxer?
Man, be honest, like you said, the first one was African, then Asian, then a European, and now they gave me like a Brazilian, especially a guy that I know. So of course I try to fight anyone, but no non-Brazilian for the first fight. But it is what it is, and like you said, it's a classic grappler against a striker. So I think it's a good matchup. It's interesting. He has a lot of experience, so he's a legend in his sport. So must be interesting. So I'm just curious as you are. So I want to see how it's gonna be the matchup, the fight goes. But should be a good fight.
So you've been training at American Kickboxing Academy, right?
No, I'm training at ATT, American Top Team, South Florida.
Oh, fantastic. So you had a little spell training at AKA previously, and then when did you move to ATT?
Yeah, no, I went a couple times at AKA, but it's been a while since last time that I was at AKA was before DC last fight against Miocic, right? So I went there, I had the opportunity to do a little bit of his camp, but that was the last time. Actually, it wasn't even at AKA because the gym was closed because of COVID. So we did at DC's house, in his gym house, and it was good. It's always great experience to train with such a big names like DC and Kang. But after I decided to make the move to American Top Team, and I decided to move from California to Florida, and that's where I'm living now, and that's where I'm training full time.
Did you pick up anything from DC and Cain? Those guys are two of the best in wrestling in heavyweight history, probably. Did they teach you some tricks?
Yeah, a lot. So first time that I trained with them was in 2013 when I went for the first time to train wrestling with them for the ADCC. And since then, I became like friends, and because of the connection that I went there, because of the connection that I have there, because Leandro Vieira used to be their coach, and he's brother of my master, Leo Vieira, and that's how they made the connection. That's how I ended up there training with them. And after that, I came back a couple times, but sometimes I trained with them in LA too. So it was good. So a lot of years, I had a lot of chance to learn some tricks with them and to learn a little bit about the game. But it was good. So now I train with many other legends in ATT. So a lot of heavyweight legends. So it's always good to learn from them as well.
Who are your main training partners at ATT?
My main training partners there, Marcelo Gomes, Marcos Rogério Pezão, Antônio Cara de Sapato, Said Soa, and many other guys, but that's are my main training partners there.
How do you feel about your striking? Are you happy with it? Do you enjoy that side of the game?
Yeah, it's definitely something really different than I did my whole life. But I'm really liking learning the game, and I think the most important, I'm enjoying the process, because if you don't enjoy, I think makes no sense, right? If you don't like something that you're doing and you keep doing, I think makes no sense. So I'm really liking since when I got an American Top Team, Catel Cubes, that's my striking coach. He's teaching me so much since day one when I got there, and my striking improving a lot. So he started teaching me since the basics. Now I'm feeling much better. So it's been over a year training with him. So it's been amazing, and always train with Macarrão too, Fabrício Rocco, Alemão. So they all came from the same hometown, and it's always good to learn a lot with them. I train a lot, like almost every day with them.
Do you think we're going to see you trying to go for knockouts, or will you just focus on what you've become a legend at and just trying to submit people?
Man, whatever happens, whatever show, like whatever I see, it doesn't matter if it's gonna be on my feet on the ground. So if I see the opportunity, of course I will try to take advantage of that. But I think I'm gonna look for the win, doesn't matter where. So on my feet, on the ground. So, but I don't know. Let's see.
Have you been impressed with somebody like Garry Tonon and the way that he transitioned to MMA? Did you watch his career in one? Do you see him as a good example of the way to transition from jiu-jitsu to MMA?
Yeah, I mean, Garry Tonon, like you said, especially because we are fighting the same event, so it's somebody that I look up to for sure. But there is like a lot of other big names that came from jiu-jitsu to MMA. Man, like Charles Bronx, Demian Maia, guys like that. It's really good, especially like Cara de Sapato, because that's my big friend, old friend, and we used to fight against each other when we were like 18 years old, and now we train together. And actually, I'm his roommate. I'm living with him right now, and he did the transition really well from jiu-jitsu to MMA. So this is one of the guys that I look up to. Fabricio Verdun, man, world champion Gui and ADCC champion, and became like MMA champion for So always good to see big names from coming from jiu-jitsu doing the transition to MMA and doing and being really successful. So it's great for me to great names to look up to.
Who do you think is the most exciting MMA grappler in mixed martial arts right now?
Right now, I have to say Charles the Bronx and Gilbert Burns, I think.
Yeah, they're doing amazing things. I mentioned Garry Tonon, his teammate Gordon Ryan, of course, is in one championship. Are you guys going to have a rematch, do you think, in one in jiu-jitsu, or maybe in a little while? It's going to be a couple of years, right? Are you going to do it in MMA one day? I think a lot of fans must ask you this all the time.
Man, I'm there. I'm ready to fight. Whoever they give me, I'll fight. Like I don't pick like opponents, and if they offer me this fight, I'll fight for sure. No problem. But like you said, I think the only way to happen would be in jiu-jitsu because he won't fight MMA, like he said before. So if it happens, it would be like a grappling match.
And do you have a plan in terms of how far away from the belt you are? Because like I said before, you were going to fight Kang, and he's supposedly rumors suggest that he will fight for the belt next. So really 1 or 2 wins and you're already in the title picture. Do you have that in your mind?
Not really. I like to take step by step. So when I was younger, like when I was blue belt, people ask me, "What's your goal?" My goal was to be like my dream was to be a blue belt world champion, not a black belt world champion. So for now, it's the same thing. So when I'm focused on make my debut and then think about the second fight, the second step. So I want to learn how to walk before I run. So I don't think about like belt right now and anything like any like future plans. I just think about today and now. So I think eventually everything will happen if I'm winning fights, if I have a good winning streak. Eventually it will happen, but that's not something that I'm worried about right now.
Sounds smart. That's why you're a multiple-time world champion. Always good to speak to you. I'm so happy to see your debut in one. It's going to be amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.